Dear parents, beautiful evening, everyone. Oh, yes. We're waiting for more parents to join us. A minute to 6. Thank you for being an early
to transform myself from the analog world that I used to be to this digital world that I have to be. And this is the challenge we all have experienced. So number one, to start with, I'm sharing only 5 points here. Number one, to start with, you must understand that the educational delivery that we must cope with now has to be digital by nature. We are not going to ever go back to the 100% physical classroom again. Let me tell you, even when the school resumes, the school time is going to be very short. The government might say we should open at 9 o'clock and close at 1. So we will not be able to cover all the curriculum. And then the school will ask us to go and do the rest at home. And you'll be doing the rest at home only via technology. So we need to embrace this digital age that there is. It has come to stay. And that is why my second point is that you will need to make more sacrifice and equip your home and yourself with digital devices. It's a pity that I still cannot share my screen. I will have shown you some bits of technological devices that is a must that we have in our various homes now. Until you have these devices and gadgets, the children is not able to learn effectively. So every parent now needs to make a huge sacrifice. You know what you have gone through in the last 4 months. Coping with data, preparing your phone or your laptop or your tablet every time the children get it spoiled. This is the new normal. We have to invest more money in digital equipment. All the other things we have in the house, including your freezer, your bed, your mattresses, your sofas, they are not going to help in the education of the children today than you getting the necessary digital devices that these children will need. You will need to invest in a lot of applications. We call them apps. And when you buy these apps, they are not always very cheap. You get them installed, and then you learn yourself how to use it. So next to getting the devices that the children need, you will also now need to educate yourself. You agree with me that many of us are not very good in the use of the computer as parents. And I've come to realize that the world has so much changed that as it used to be in the olden days when our own parents used to look like the illiterate, when they cannot help us with what they're doing. Now, most of us modern parents are beginning to look like the modern day illiterate because we cannot understand the computer as the children are understanding it. Many a times, the child will come home and will tell you that, Mommy, come and help me with this on my computer. And you say, well, let your daddy come on. I don't know how to do it. And the child will look at you and say, Mommy, why can't you do this? This is simple now. And then that is the point I'm making. All we need to do now is to embrace what Alvin Toffler said. Alvin Toffler said
paper. Come on,
Alvin Toffler, one of the educationists, he said that the illiterate of the 21st century is not a person that cannot read or write, but the person who cannot unlearn what he has learned and relearn what he needs to learn so that they can cope and adapt in the present world. So many of us as parents, and I want to challenge you, for us to be able to become more effective as parents in this stage, we have to go back We might need to go back to the computer school. The host need to mute everybody's computer, everybody's audio, so that this interference doesn't come in. You can still hear me clearly, I believe.
Yes, we can hear you clearly, sir.
Okay. So the point I'm making next is we might need to take ourselves to the computer school as parents. You will need to understand the digital languages. You need to know how to run the computer. You need to know how to run a Zoom meeting like this. You need to know how to conduct Microsoft classroom meetings. You need to know so many things. So if you don't know it, your child will see you as an illiterate. And let me tell you the truth, we are now the modern day illiterate, because many of the things that these children can do, even on the phone and on the gadget, we cannot do it. So for you to be able to sit down with your child and monitor the learning of the child and be more effective as a parent, you need computer education. I hope that the school will one of these days arrange for us on how we can take the parents and teach them the basic gadgets and the basic devices they need to use to deal with the challenge of educating the child today. So, if you have heard me very clearly, I've talked about you being in the best species of parenting that you need to be able to be effective. I've talked about the sacrifice that we still need to make to ensure that all the things that the children need for this digital education is provided for them in house. I also said it that you will need to take your child back, you might need to take yourself back to school and learn how to adapt to the digital age and get yourself well educated. It's important that I quickly also let you know that the child today that is also coming into the digital age fully and learning via digital devices needs to be well monitored. You cannot leave these children on their own, because digital space, as good as it is also a very dangerous thing. There are 3 C's that I try to tell parents about when your child is in the digital space. The first one is the content that the child is going to encounter. There are too many contents in the digital space. It is too much. There is nothing you are looking for here that you cannot see. You want to see how an aeroplane is being made, you will learn it here. You want to learn how to cook a icon, you will learn it here. But at the same time, you want to learn how to smoke in that end, you will see it here. You want to see pornography, you will see it here. You want to see anything on also, they are all here. So the content here has to be controlled. So if as a parent you don't know how to control the content that your child has access to, I want to tell you, it might fail in our responsibility as effective parents. We will not be effective, because if you don't know how to block some sites with some ads on your own as a parent, you will not be able to stop your child when you are not there from quickly going to look at pornography. You will not be able to stop the child on going to some website where they train them on how to kill themselves. I've had the story of some games that some children will play that they will play up to a level where when you lose, you have to try and die. And some children have actually committed suicide playing such games. So the content is very important. And then contact too. I talked about the 3 C's: content, contact, and conduct. So content is how to manage what the child is going to have access to in the digital space. Not many parents today can control that at home. And that is why the children now have unlimited access to unwholesome places that they don't need to go to on the internet. So the contact too, they will meet friends here that they don't know from anywhere. They will go on Facebook, they will go on Snapchat, They will go on Twitter. They will go on every social media to contact some people that they don't know from anywhere. And they'll begin to interact with them as if they know each other. And you never can say the character of such people. Many of our children have mixed up with miscreants just because they found themselves in the digital space unprepared and unmonitored by their parents. And then you have the last C, which is conduct, which is the value that you as a parent must have put in a child before the child gets to the stage of using the computer. Let me tell you that there is not much difference between the physical school and the digital space. In so much that it is how well trained a child is that will determine what the child will do when the child gets to the digital space. When a child is going to school physically, maybe let's take an example of a child that treks to school. When the child is trekking to school, on the way to school, the child will see some conductors, some agberos at the bus stop, smoking in drinking alomo and all those things. The child will see those people, but the child will not branch there because the child knows that I am going to school. So the child will enter the bus and go to school. So that is where it's going. Because the child has been well brought up and the child has a focus. The same thing exactly when the child is given a computer and the child comes into the digital space of the computer. If the child has manners, if the child has values, if the child is a well-behaved child, that child will not go to any space that is negative. The child will go to where the curriculum is. The child will go to where the activities are and do what it needs to do and leave the space and go and do other things. That is why you need to manage the content, the contact, and the conduct of your child as it comes to the digital space. I would almost want to stop here, but I'll quickly just need to add this, that the health challenge of your child should also be monitored in this digital space. Unfortunately, many parents have not been able to answer this. We've been home now for like 4 months plus, maybe 5 months now, and the children are getting fatter and fatter. Even some of us parents are getting fatter and fatter. I'm sure some of you here have put on a lot of weight in between when you are home and now. I can see the HN. She's smiling at the thought. We have all put on weight. And there is no way you will not put on weight when you are sedentary and you sit down on the gadget for too long. And that is why we have been trying to educate parents. There's what we call screen time management. Screen time management. Don't allow your child to be on the screen for more than 30 minutes at a time without the child standing up and going to do some other things before coming back. We must learn to engage our children in other activities apart from just sitting down on the screen and doing work. Screen time management has to be understood by every parent. And then social interaction too must be taught to these children. Because we are always connecting online now, our children almost will not know how to connect physically with other people if there is not taking. And that is why the social etiquette of the child has to be taken as very important. Please let your children know that when their friends and visitors come, let them leave the system and let them play and interact. Learn to take the children out to the park, to outside, just drive them around, to take them away from the gadgets and know that there is still a need for physical and social interaction. So you discover that in terms of physical and health fitness, because they sit down all the time, they don't run around as they run around in the school, they don't do physical exercise as they do in the school, and they are just getting. We have an increasing rate of obesity today. Let me tell you the truth, especially among children. And then, like I said, their social consciousness is also dropping. These are the things that I want us to control. And finally, before I leave, I want to also tell you that there is a need now, more than before, for a synergy between the home and the school. This is the time when the home needs to support the school to provide everything that the child will need in terms of educational advancement. If you are able to support the school, I want to tell you there are so many things the school is ready to do to ensure that whether they stay at home or whether they come to school, their education will not be interrupted. I was chatting with the director of the school last week, and he was telling me of all the international affiliations that the school is engaging in, all the international programs that the school wants to engage in, such that the child will not be limited even to only examinations and activities that are being done here in Nigeria. That is a school that is forward-looking. That is a management that is visionary. But without your support, there is no way the school will be able to achieve this, because everything that we will do within this ICT era of educational delivery comes at a huge cost. You know the cost of data, for example. You know the cost of equipping the schools with digital equipment, for example. This is the time when we need to give the school all the support that we can. This is the time that we know that times are hard, but this is not the time to owe school fees at all. This is not the time to deny, the child and access to quality education that the school is ready to give. So synergy between the school and the home will provide a quality education for the child. So I've made all my points, and I know I am not and I hope that you are able to understand all I've said. But to do a recap very quickly, you must understand the species of trend that we belong to. Are you a
We are losing you, doctor. Okay.
Yeah.
I
Are
didn't get
you
that.
okay? I said that you must remember that you need to identify what species of parents you have. Are you the sergeant major parent? Are you the jellyfish parent? Are you the absentos parent? Or are you the backbonicus parent? If I have my way, I'm going to make all of you become the backbonicus parent. The backbonicus parent is the one that is ready to go to any length to provide the best for the child and still keep company with the child, because it is not only your presence that you buy and give to the child that matters. Your presence in the life of the child at every point in time matters a lot. Your ability to sit down with the child, to monitor what the child is doing, is very important. If you don't develop the bond and the affinity with your child in this growing age where they are, the child will grow up and will not develop much bond with you as a parent. So that is why you cannot afford to be in that absentos parent species. And then we have said that we all need to understand computer. If we need to go back to the computer school to learn how to use the computer, please let us do it. Your child cannot be doing something on the computer and you don't know how to help the child. The child will see you as the spirit of the 21st century. And I also said that we need to understand all the apps that we can use to block sites that the children will not need to go to. And then we need to manage the screen time of the child. Don't allow your child to be on the screen all the time. And then for those of you that your children are still under the age of 2, it is very dangerous for the child to be carrying phone and be staring at the phone or be carrying gadgets all the time. It damages the brain of the child. Please know that the child should use the computer or the phone for 30 minutes at most. And then the child will go and play for another 10 minutes. There must always be a 10 minutes, 15 minutes break every time the child has spent 30 minutes on the screen to help the eyes and to help the brain of the child. Please take note of this. Then we have said that you should save them from obesity. Let them still have physical exercises. And we said that you should also make them to interact socially with you. You know, try to have family time together, have dinner together. When you are eating, nobody should look at phone or use the computer. Family time is family time. It's for us to interact. Prayer time is prayer time. All this must not stop because we are in the digital age. These are all the things that has given our family life more value than what they have outside this country. So we must maintain those family values as much as possible. And finally, I said we must school with our school. We must learn to have what you call synergy with the school so that the school can be able to offer all the things that they have in mind to offer at such a time as this. So, ladies and gentlemen, my esteemed parents, I want to thank you for your audience, and I want to thank you for being here. There can still be interaction. I can have questions, which I will answer, and I can always leave you to do your meeting so that I can also go and do some other things. Thank you very much for listening to me. Enjoy the rest of your meeting. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Ayodele Nelson. In fact, there's so much to take from all that you have shared with us today. And, you know, in the course when Doctor was talking, there was something that he made mention of, and it sort of jolted me up. And that was when he said, when the government eventually asked the schools to resume, certainly it may not be the entire school time, that the school time may be shortened. We already have that, you know, in place for some areas of businesses that have been asked to resume. You know, restrictions have been placed on the extent of time that that they can open. And I mean, when he said that, I just said, well, that just goes to show that by the time schools are even asked to resume, we have to continue what we call blended education. What do I mean by the blended education? We're going to have the brick and mortar and also the virtual. You know, he said, they say, okay, you can only open maybe from 9 a.m. to 12, and you go and do the rest at home, you know. And so all of this put together, we cannot just sit back. Thank you very much, Doctor. I really appreciate your time, really appreciate your time. And so I'm sure when the questions come in, if you're still with us, because we have time that we're going to have responses from parents, if you're still with us, then we would ask those questions. So that will just bring me to talk about the framework for third term, the framework that we have for third term. Before now, we had already sent the diary of events. For third term, we have sent a document telling our parents that we are starting third term 4th of August. So I just want to go over the framework with our parents. And in that framework, if some of our parents, if some of you are yet to go through that framework or you haven't received it, it's on every parent's platform, on the parents' platform across the branches. It's there, but if somehow you have lost that information, you can always reach out to any of the heads of schools, or you can reach out to the teacher of your child, and they will surely send it to you. So in our framework, it's going to be an 8-week term. 8-week term. That is, we're going to have 8 weeks for third term, and which is starting August 4th. And by God's grace, we should conclude by August 27th. That weekend, the third term exam will be written. I would want to say that there are some schools who have already even taken the lead. At least I know of 2 schools, you know, of my friends, that they have even conducted virtual graduation for their graduating pupils. Yes, so I mean, we can't afford to lag behind anymore. We have to take the bull by the horn. And I want to appeal to every parent, please let all our pals be part of this. You know, nobody, even internationally, the government, nobody really knows where the whole situation is ending. But as God's children, we can only trust that it's going to end well. So no matter what the plan, some will say, okay, what if this, what if that? It's always if. But we have to keep moving ahead. So that's why this third term, thank God that this weekend we concluded the second term exam, and now we are on to the third term exam. We looked at the subjects that are taken at the end of the day, when the children are proceeding from the primary school to secondary school. We look at the subjects that are being offered, or rather that they encounter during their entrance exams. And those are the core subjects that we decided that for now we are going to focus on. And that's mathematics, English, science, social studies, and CRS. Those 5 areas are subjects that we want to focus on for now until everything normalizes. Permit me to say that. And so in that framework, we are going to have classwork, for every concept that is taught. Classwork will follow. For the nursery, we've decided that they're going to have a subject per day. And after every subject, 5 questions will follow. And for reception to grade 2, they're going to have 2 subjects per day. While for the upper primary, because for the upper primary, they're more independent, they're more mature, they'll be having 3 subjects per day. Assignments would also follow. Now, for some people, for some of our parents, or let me just say that we appreciate that the situation in every home is different. There are some homes that the children are able to do their work, or maybe there's an assistance, or the parents are readily available, or there's an adult readily available, where there is a need to monitor the children while they're doing their work, having their virtual class, right? And they can do this work daily. So for such homes, there is a plan where the child will log on a particular day and attempt to do his work for that day, submit his classwork, and thereafter do his assignment and also submit. Also, we recognize that there are some homes that the weekend will work better for them. And that's why we've said, okay, it's going to be a weekly expectation for children who cannot attempt to do what they need to do during the week. Then they have the weekend to do it. But every work for that week by Sunday 3 p.m. would have been submitted. We stated that in the diary of events that we sent across to our parents. It stated there. So we don't want a situation we are discouraging that. Once that week elapses, the mark that is assigned, allocated for the work of that week is gone. So we want to encourage, we are encouraging our parents to please support us that all our pals, they do their work as scheduled for that week. So what we will be grading, every classwork will count, every assignment will count. At the end of the day, it will form part of the overall assessment. The classwork will carry 10 marks, the assignment, the summation of it will carry 10 marks. We're going to have midterm assessment along the way at the middle. It will come up and that will be 30 marks. We're going to have project, and this will be at the discretion of every class, of course, subject to approval by the heads of schools. that would also carry 10 marks. And the end of term assessment will carry 40 marks. At the end of the day, if we sum this all up, it will be 100 marks. So it's important, please, I'm appealing to my parents. I know that you're working, it's not easy, but I mean, even during brick and mortar, we give them tasks. They bring home and you still have to help ensure that they do their homework. So the same, just maybe you have to go an extra mile, you know, to please ensure that our pupils, they do their task and they do it on a weekly basis. The work for that week by 3 p.m. on Sunday must have been completed and submitted. Please no carryover. We will strictly abide by this. All right. And again, like I said, it will be graded. And if there are questions beyond what I have said today, I am available. Mrs. Adenowa and Mrs. Awa, they are also available, and all our teachers are available. Yes, and our pals can ask questions. They don't, there's Zoom meetings, of course. Our Zoom meetings will continue, and every weekend we've allotted Saturday, Sunday for our Zoom meetings, whereby the teachers, each class teacher will come on board and will have a review of what has been learned during the week. They'll just have a summary, a review of it. For the upper grade, you know, for each class teacher, we understand that there would be a bias. For example, a class teacher who is a mathematics major, you know, of course, he would have the floor, but would always have an invite other class teachers. There will be a timetable where they'll come on board and they would also have a review of the things that have been done. Also, please, I would want to appeal that our pals, if there are questions, they don't need to wait till the weekend before they can ask their teachers questions. They can always reach their teachers via the chat box that we have on the portal. They can also reach through WhatsApp, you know, or even their mobile lines. You can, I mean, give them a call. They're always there to attend to it. So as we are commencing third term on the 4th, that's on Tuesday, teachers are going to have a day break on Monday, you know, and then by Tuesday, we are ready and good to go. I want to appeal that we've already sent it, is stated in the third term framework that was set to parents, that the fee, I want to talk a little about the fee. The fee for the nursery is 20,000 and for the primary is 30,000. You know, I know of some schools that have charged, maybe have tuition, have this, but we understand the times that we are in. And we said, we agreed, you know, at the meeting that, look, let's just leave it as it is and make it very reasonable and affordable, very affordable for all our parents. So for the nursery, third term fee is 20,000. For the primary, third term fee is 30,000. And the deadline for payment is 12th of August. 12th of August, we expect by God's grace that payment would have been made by 12th of August. Please, we will appreciate that you support us in this regard. You know, it will help us to plan, and it will help that the term would go smoothly and there will be no disruption in the learning of our pals. So this is what we are having. This is a rundown of the third term framework. And like I said, if there are questions, you know, and clarifications and concerns, I'm always available. And the other heads of school, they're also available. And our class teachers, they're also available, and we will clarify whatever needs to be clarified. So on this note, I want to say thank you. And we will now open the floor if there are concerns that our parents want to share or some feedback here. So the floor is open. So you just signify by show of hand, and you'll be unmuted and you can make your contribution. Thank you. Okay, I can see someone's hand. Miss Chinonye. Miss Chinonye, I can see your hand. So please, you can have the floor, ma.
All right. I will speak on our behalf. We're here listening together.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Let me start from the current exam that just ended today.
Okay.
When you're on the portal, as they do the exams, each question is timed. And once that timing expires, it logs you out of that exam. You have to go back and click start again. And when you click start, it tells you, if you've done question 1 to 10, it tells you answers to question 1 to 10 is already logged, but just click anything and move forward till you get to the question where you are attending. Now, my take is this: if the exams are for Saturday and Sunday, there's some talking and something at the background. I'm trying to be sure. So if the questions are...
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
If they are for Saturday and Sunday, and for example, you have not finished up to number 30 and it logs you out, it simply means you can log back in. For one of my boys, it took him 3 hours to solve the 30 questions. So he kept logging out, because while he's walking and walking, when he looks up, it has timed out. So he has to start clicking again. So my take is this: if that exam lasted for one whole day, for example, 24 hours, why put the children under the pressure of each question will take you 120 seconds? Why not remove the time? Let him answer question 1 for as long as he likes. Answer question 2 as long as he likes. Answer question 3 as long as he likes. Important thing, click when you get to 30. But at midnight or at 11 p.m., let the portal close and you can answer again, because putting them under pressure with that time, he kept clicking, and one of the questions he had worked and got the answer. For example, if that's question 10, he clicked question 9, clicked an answer on question 10 and clicked send, and realized, oh, this is when I'm supposed to click the answer. Meanwhile, he had chosen a wrong answer because he wanted to get to the question he had answered, and he now failed that one. That timing put him under pressure because it times out. He has to go back and start clicking question 1. First of all, I noticed he was like, no, what did I answer in this one? What did I answer? And I say, no, look at what is written here, that it's been logged in, just click anything. So now that he says click anything, he now started clicking anything. And based on that, went and clicked a question that he wanted to get back to and clicked the wrong answer, and now realized, oh, I've clicked the wrong answer. So if that's the way the exams will be going forward, the school can say the exam is on Saturday, 11 p.m. If you have not submitted, it logs you out. So they can relax and do this exam instead of each question putting them under pressure with time, and he has to go back and start clicking question number 1 to 28 to get back to question 29 to click the answer he just got to be able to move to question 30. It was a lot of stress and burden. Number 2, I just heard 30K. The last information that was sent out is that third term will carry the same fees of what was agreed that we paid in June, if I'm correct, when the portal, we had a meeting then started. So I'm wondering how the fees were changed. If we all met then, it was reviewed and agreed. The school now changes without meeting again with the parents. But anyway, that leads me to this third term. For example, the ones we've been doing, like the exams, I called the head of school where my kids are, which is Allen, and told her I'm going to ensure they get to do the second term exam because the schools were closed just a day before they started the exam. So I wouldn't want to deprive them of the exam of a term they attended school from day 1 to the last day. Though some of the questions I saw in the exam were things that were sent to them during the stay at home, not what was taught them. So I'm wondering why suddenly did the July online school become what they had to set in the exam and not what they were taught in school? Is it because it was a recent experience so it overtook everybody's mind and every teacher's now focused on that, or what? Then, if the fee has been taken up to 30K, the data consumption, and because I go to work, there was a lot of issues with managing to stay at home to supervise or to leave them. I had to keep ensuring that there was data. The cost of data alone, it would have been better for me to pay school fees. Number two, because I'm not home and that data, I now said, okay, let me print these things. Cost of paper, cost of ink, cost of getting a printer.
Okay,
So
sir.
there's an internet provider I'm working with to make sure I have data on ground 24 hours. I know the cost implication. But if I'm going to do that, I go to work with my own laptop. My wife currently works from home and goes to the office 3 times between Monday to Friday, so she's not available on that day. The day she's even around in the house, it is worse than her going to the office. I see what happens. So the only laptop she has, she's using it. Now, if I'm not around, this internet provider I'm trying to work out, I'm thinking about either buying, even if it's a Tokumbo laptop or a laptop that is of a junior rate. We know how much laptops are. 70K, 100,000, 110. I'm going to buy 2 for my 2 kids. That's already, let's say, a budget of 200,000. Or you even want to buy a tab. Most reasonable tabs are 70K. All these costs, you say 30K. So what I've asked my head of school, if my children don't partake in this third term, what is the implication? They've first term, they've done second term. If they don't partake of third term, what is the implication? Because I need to decide what to do going forward. Like I said in the other meeting, I appreciate what the school is doing to do this kind of portal. I know it is costing them money, but somebody who speaks rock bottom. With whatever is happening all over the world, businesses are downsizing. In my wife's office, they sacked 60% of the staff there. Those who were remaining, she was lucky to be remaining. They slashed their salary by the same 60%. And because there are less people in the office, imagine 10 people, they sack 6. 4 people are now doing 10 people's work with a lower pay. It is stress. So she's at home, and she's at home, she's working, she's minding them, because if she's at home, they eat lunch.
Sorry, sir, I'm not trying to stop you but there are so many parents' hands that are up.
Yes, so the final take of it is third term. I need to know what is the implication if my children do not partake in the third term online, so I can decide going forward what to do with them.
Thank you very much.
Then
Thank you very much.
The exam, the suggestion about the exam, is it possible that when it times out, the portal should just take them back to the last question they were treating rather than taking them back to the beginning?
Okay, I'll just say,
or better still, please let me finish, or better still, as they answer each question, it goes off so that they have access to the remaining. If there are 10 questions, they've done the first one, it goes off, they have access to only 9. When they do the second one, it goes off. They have access to the remaining 7, 8 questions, just like that till they finish the last one. I think that would help manage the time, because taking off the time completely off exams are usually timed. But in terms of online access and then usership, I think we need to work around these 2 suggestions. Probably it would help. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so very much, ma'am. Thank you, sir, for your contribution. Regarding the exams, we will look into that. The IT, we will look into it with the technical team, and we'll work on that and see what will be done, and in the best interest of every stakeholder. Concerning the fees, there wasn't any change really. If you look at it, is 2 months, 8 weeks is 2 months, 4 weeks in a month. And for that 8 weeks, we say for nursery is 20,000, for the primary section is 30,000. But now we just want it to be paid lump sum at once, rather than breaking it down, to help us run the term effectively. So really, sir, nothing has changed in that regard. So for the second term examination, surprisingly, because revision questions were sent based on what they had learned, remember that it wasn't every parent that was, every parent that subscribed for the virtual class. So it would be unfair to set questions from the virtual class. So for the second term exam, it was the second term curriculum that the exam was set based on, and revision questions, revision notes was already sent across to the children, and that the teachers called when was necessary, revised with the children. Well, for the implication of what third term would be, like I said, and I thank God for what Dr. Nelson said in his session, during the session, what he said, that there's likelihood that when we are asked to return, the school time may be shortened and we may be forced to do blended. In fact, we have to just continue blended education. So the child who will not be part of it will be at a disadvantage, really, and will not be moving along with others as they are moving. I would just want to appeal. It's a time of sacrifice for everyone. And I thank you, sir, that you mentioned that you also know what the school, has, how much the school has invested in this virtual class. I just want to encourage that, please, it's a sacrifice we all have to make for our children. So on that note, I want to call, I saw Miss Jinadu, your hand was up. So Miss Jinadu, you can please take the floor if you're still available there, ma'am. Or Mr. Chris Egwabo. I saw your hand still up.
Good evening.
Oh, good evening, sir.
Good evening. No. Hello, Mrs. Jinadu.
Okay, Mr. Jinadu, please, yes, I called your name first. Please go ahead, ma'am.
It's okay. So I think you've spoken to my what I wanted to find out, that the 30,000, is it for the entire term?
Yes, it is.
If yes, as
Okay.
concerned. So now, I think some parents have paid for the
to be the implication of
that. Do we do some deductions? Do we warehouse the money? That the pupils that.
Sorry, ma, I lost you there where you said some parents have paid.
Okay, I said that I know that some parents have paid for third term initially. Okay. I mean, during the early days of the lockdown.
Okay, ma'am.
So what would be the implication of this?
Okay, let me quickly respond to that. Thank you very much, ma'am. For parents who have paid for third term, the implication will be that once we resume, and by God's grace, we will conclude our third term online, but once we resume, for first term, you have a credit with us, we will translate what you have paid for third term fees, it will be now for first term fee. So it's a separate thing. So that's the implication now. We know that you have credit with us. And so once we start first term, we will translate it to first term fees for you. Thank you, ma'am. So Mr. Chris Ugwabosa.
Okay, good evening, madam. Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, okay. You've answered the first question I wanted to ask about the third term payment, because we had made that. So it makes sense that you just roll it over to the next term. That is good. Okay. The second thing I wanted to speak about is very quickly. There are errors on the questions. You see the options going to as high as A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. On the portal. I believe it's something you could look at during the exams. Instead of the 4 or 5 options, you were having options going to 8 or 9 in some questions.
Okay.
So please look at that and then try and make it a lot better for the children.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. The feedback is well noted because I'm surprised the options we have is just 4. So we will look at that with the technical team and make corrections where necessary. But what we vetted was 4 options for the grade classes. For nursery, it's just even 3 options. So thank you very much, sir, for that feedback. We'll work on it. So I would like to call, I'm seeing I'm seeing Miss Abimbola Lanre Oyewo. I don't know if it's Mrs. or Mr. I see your hand up. Okay, well, if Miss, another name is Fumi Olabiola.
Good evening.
Yes, beautiful evening, ma'am.
I wish you the same.
Yes,
mine
ma'am.
also has to do with the exams. I personally, we didn't have any problems of timing out or anything if I was perfect.
Okay.
But I would like to suggest that instead of probably timing each question, say 2 minutes or a minute, I think they should allow the kids do it the way they do in school. You can say, okay, for English, 1 hour. They know how to allocate their time. Because what I noticed yesterday, especially during the mathematics my daughter was solving, was that they were allotted 2 minutes for each question. There were some questions that she did in 40 seconds, and there were some that 2 minutes was simply not enough to do. Even I, as much as I love mathematics, I know that she couldn't have solved that question in 2 minutes. So if you allocate, say, 1 hour, let them now allocate the time that suits them within that 1 hour time frame. They can move probably the remaining 1 hour and 1 minute, say 20 seconds to the next question. And that way, I think they'll be able to go through all the questions. Anyway, I already spoke with Mr. Okay yesterday. I think 30 questions in 1 hour for mathematics, it's not realistic. It's not realistic. They wouldn't do that even during their exams in school. It was just too much. So we could look at the timing and probably remove the aspect of timing each question. Just allot, say 1 hour or 1 hour, 30 minutes or whatever to all the questions they need to do. They can now figure out how to allocate the time. Because what I noticed was that there was that fear. Once they see that, I have 10 seconds more. Even a child that knows the answer will probably get fidgety and eventually will not answer that question. That's just my observation and a suggestion. Thank you.
Okay, ma. Thank you very much. Your observation well noted, and we will consider all that you have said. But there are so many things that go into exams, especially when they have to attend sometimes common entrance, sometimes competitions. But like you said, that we will also look into. Thank you very much. I have another person's hand. Let's have Mrs. I'm seeing a hand. Mrs. Lala. I see Miss Lala's hand up.
Good evening, everyone.
Beautiful evening, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. I want to talk about the examination. Whatever method the school wants to use, I want them to also consider the issue with network. At times, the student will be working on the portal and the network will go off. Then the issue of going back to the questions you have already answered will come up, and you have to do it until you get to the last one that you have done. So whatever method you want to use for the exams on the portal, please consider network failure, network stuff and all that. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Well noted. Thank you very much. There's another parent here. I have Mrs. Adetutu Bankole. Yes, ma'am. Mrs. Adetutu Bankole. You can take the
Good
floor, ma'am.
evening.
Oh, beautiful evening, ma'am.
Beautiful evening, parents and teachers.
Thank you for holding on.
Okay, so first of all, I would like to do virtual classes. I have a class because, in my opinion, parents have to deal with a lot now, and it might not be necessarily easy. For instance, I'm speaking for myself. I have a grade 4 pupil. Yes, I might be quite familiar with some part of his mathematics and some part of the English language, but especially for the mathematics, I'm not really a mathematician like that.
Yes, ma'am.
Sometimes even I cannot help with the questions because whether we get to see it or not, these children are used to having a teacher right in front of them explaining every single thing to them, and then they pick up from that. So dropping videos in the on the portal and trying to explain, in my opinion, as someone who is in communication, I believe that, in my opinion, they might get about 50% of what is being taught. In my opinion, they might not necessarily understand, to the full extent, if they were
Oh,
as if if they were a
we,
teacher like right in front of them explaining to them. So most of the portal try to understand, the lecture on like a teacher. I
okay.
necessarily don't get it all the time. That's the truth. If I'm going to be truthful, I necessarily don't get it all the time. So I now imagine how the child would even get it if I, as an adult, don't even get it all the time. So this is my suggestion. I would say that yes, I know a lot of parents are busy and we might not have like a proper, online class, in the sense that there's a teacher in class explaining, the subjects. But if we can, say for every weekend, I know there are Zoom classes and all of that, but I mean, most of the Zoom classes so far, I've been part of the virtual classes, so I know most of the Zoom classes so far just briefly explains. It's barely more than an hour most of the time. Unlike children who are used to being in class for 4 5 hours, explaining every subject. So most for me, the Zoom classes most of the time don't necessarily, and because it's a weekend, they're at home. It's not necessarily like a classroom to them. I know of my friends that in their kids are in other schools, and the schools hold a classroom on a daily basis. I know that's a lot for a lot of parents, and we might not be able to achieve that. But I would like if there's, like a proper classroom class. If it has to be on the weekend, fine, because of parents who can't be at home, during the week. But I would, especially for core subjects like mathematics, because mathematics is not something somebody just sees the video of and then gets it. And even grammar, in my opinion, science, yes, we can do that, and CRS, but for mathematics and grammar, because I'm a parent, I don't like to involve I don't like to necessarily teach my child, okay, do this on do you understand, do this, or give the answers. I like the child to do what they want, what they have to do on their own. And I can tell you categorically that during the exams that happened yesterday and today, my son struggled with the mathematics, and it wasn't even like that when there was a classroom. I don't know if you get what I'm saying, because, and
Yes,
I
I'm
found
following you.
at the end of the day, for me, it's a matter of, it didn't even have a proper explanation for me at the end of it. Yes, there was Zoom classes and there were videos, but especially for things like fractions and everything, I mean, you need like a proper class. So that's just one suggestion I'm going to make. If there can be like a proper classroom, if it has to be that the teacher will be in the classroom and the video is being recorded, and do you understand, and then it's dropped, or if It has to be like a Zoom meeting, and then the teacher is right in the classroom, and they have the classroom feel. That's one.
Thank
Then
you, ma'am.
two, as regards the examination process, I totally agree with all parents that have said that, you know, especially for maths again, you know, you cannot give like, oh, 2 minutes. I understand we are preparing for common entrance and all, but I also have to say that, I mean, it takes a while before we get to that stage, you know, where we can soak into me, because most of the time it confuses even the children, because instead of them thinking of the solution to the problem, they're thinking of the time. You know,
Okay,
you're hearing, oh, 20 seconds, 19 seconds. When would I finish this? Instead of actually solving the problem and getting to understand the question, they are more after, oh, I don't want this thing to log me out because I don't want to start from the beginning again.
okay.
So that's
Thank
two.
you very much, ma'am, for your
So
contribution.
I'm not done. No. So for
Sorry,
yes,
ma'am. You had said that we should try and make it brief, because we have 2 other parents whose hands I
waiting.
can see,
So I'll
and
have
I'm
my
looking
time.
at the time so that I won't have parents saying, "Oh, Joyce, you burnt our data."
Well, we are all burning data. Then also also for like one other parent said, the internet, we also have to think about it, because see, this is it. It's easy for you to tell children, go to your school portal, do your school work, which I always say every morning as I'm leaving the house. Do your school videos from the school, and I think that this is an internet thing. I'm not really sure if the school can control it, but if they can, they should please look into it. Even while they're watching videos from the school, you know, videos pop up like Miraculous, Spider-Man, and all of that. And I mean, every child wants to watch these things. So if they're popping up right under the school portal,
This one will be in base
it
10.
it's
You
it's
now do the
it
21st.
distraction for them. I don't know if there's anything they can do about that, because we've always had issues as because you hear things like, but mommy, it was under my school portal. I saw it from the videos under my school. I think it's the YouTube thingy. So if there's anything the school can do about it, I would really appreciate that, because at the end of the day, their defense is, mommy, it was right in my school portal. I picked the video right from my school portal. So I don't know if there's anything the school can do about that. So I think that's basically what I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Your observations well noted, and we will get back to it. I see Dr. Mwodika's hand up. Dr. Mwodika, please, I would just want to appeal, please, let's make our contribution very brief. Please, just let's keep it to a minute. So Dr. Mwodika, please, if you're there, you can take the floor, or Mrs. Akani Shile.
Hello, ma'am.
Okay, doctor, we have you.
Hello, ma'am. Thank you very much for the meeting.
Please, we can hardly hear you.
Thank you, ma'am, for the meeting.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. And good evening, everybody on the platform.
Beautiful evening.
Yeah, so many things have been said. I don't need to go through all of them. There is one that I see remaining that nobody has said something about it. That is actually what I just want to add. It's concerning the timing to submit the homework. I heard the teacher saying that they have to submit by Sunday, 3 p.m. I have 3 kids. I'm hardly at home. It's only my wife, and she goes to work. Please, that 3 p.m. on Sunday, maybe for people that have only one, maybe for 2, but please, there are 3 here. And it's so tight for somebody to break even, and 3 p.m. if submitted. We have so many other things to do. She has her work she has to do, you know. So I think somebody should look into that timing, and maybe you should extend it, or give give enough time for somebody to submit, because every time she's complaining. And I'm so sorry, I'm so busy, I find it difficult to help. So that's actually my appeal. Thank you.
Okay, sir. All right, thank you very much, sir. And we have, is Mrs. Akanishile there? I see her hand
Yes, I'm
up.
here. Good evening. Good evening, parents.
Beautiful evening, ma'am.
So mine is 2 contributions. I was wondering if it's possible for us to have weekly learning focus areas. So basically the teachers just send us what they're going to cover weekly. That way for parents who are busy, we can actually know what our kids are meant to learn for the week and what they're meant to know. So, we can actually catch up with them and make sure that they're actually learning what they're meant to know. The second one I wanted to ask is textbooks. So is there any way we can pick up their textbooks, and then can these textbooks be actually incorporated in the learning? Because I know for other schools, they actually had timetables where parents could come in and pick up the textbooks for the term, and textbooks were actually incorporated in the learning, even though they had the online thing. Sometimes tasks were actually taken from the textbooks. So these are my 2 contributions. And then the weekly focus area, even if we can't do weekly, maybe 2 weekly focus areas sent to us so we can actually track what our kids are learning.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you very much, ma'am. Well noted. And for the textbooks, we had actually given directives that for any parent that wants to pick up the textbooks, that the teacher should schedule a time, and that where the parents can come in and meet with the teacher and pick up our PEL's textbook. So that option is opened, ma'am. And thank you.
One thing, sorry to interrupt, but it's one thing picking up the textbooks, but it's another thing the teachers not actually incorporating the textbook in the entire learning pattern.
Okay.
We don't just have things on the portal, but they should incorporate, because we're trying as much as possible to balance screen time as well. Screen time exposure isn't good. Take the kids off and get them to do some work on their textbooks and whatnot. I think.
Okay, yes, ma'am. I was going to get to that, because that was for the revision for the second term exam. And now that we're concluded with second term exam and we're moving into third term exam, what you have noted, we will surely look into it. Thank you very much, ma'am. So I really appreciate you. I don't see any other hand up. I see no hand up now. So I think it's been a good one today. And we're starting with the session we had with Dr. Nelson and all the wonderful contributions our parents brought on board. I really appreciate you. Thank you for making it to this meeting, and trust that another time we call, you will also honor our invitation. Thank you so much. So you have made so many contributions here, observations, good feedback. We will get to work, and by God's grace, everything will turn out well. So I want to say thank you. Thank you to the other heads of schools, Mrs. Adenowa and Mrs. R. Thank you, my wonderful colleagues. Such a wonderful team I have. And to all our teachers, they're also doing a great job. Yes, and a big thank you to everybody. So I want to say thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you, Ma.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. I say thank you to my director and to Mommy too. Thank you. It's okay, Mr. Mike, my director. Thank you. I appreciate you all. It's a wonderful team. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Madam Akinola.
Thank you, Doctor. You stayed to the end.
Yes, I did.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you.
Well done.
There was really no question.
Yes,
so that means everything you said.
I was waiting.
Everything you said was up.
No problem.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Well done. You're welcome. You're welcome. Have a nice evening, everybody. Bye.
Bye,
Thank
sir.
you, sir. Bye, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.